What's up, y'all? It is your girl, Ashley Ross, and I am so excited to be back. I have been on hiatus. I have been eating for the holidays, traveling, living my best life, but I am back, locked and loaded, ready to go. This week, we're going to switch it up a little bit. Typically, I break down all the games, but we know that the Jaguars and the Jets, they're not going anywhere. So let's really focus this week on the playoff picture, both in the NFC and the AFC. Let's get started in the AFC. If the playoffs started today, the team with the bye would be the number 1 seed Baltimore Ravens. Now, Baltimore, that was an atrocious, and I do mean atrocious game that they played yesterday on offense specifically. Lamar had 4 turnovers against the Browns. And if you're a normal person looking at that stat line, there is no way that Baltimore should have won that game. But that just goes to show you how elite this Baltimore defense is. I mean, I think you have to make the argument that this might be just right now, other than the Patriots, the best defense in all of football, because there's no way that a team should be able to overcome that many turnovers. Lamar, we love Lamar. He's electric, but Lamar, he's had some fumbles this year. He clearly had some turnovers. I know because I was watching my fantasy score. The Ravens are an interesting team to me because they've won many different ways. It hasn't been clean, but I don't overly give them the vote of confidence because I need you to win a little bit more cleanly. Like, yes, these have been some dramatic finishes, and yes, somehow, some way they've been able to pull it out. But when you go in the playoffs and you're going to take a team probably like the Patriots or a team that's more skilled that has time to prepare, you can't have this many turnovers. You can't make these many mistakes because the difference is the Browns were not equipped to capitalize. Other good teams, they're going to capitalize. Currently at the 2 seed, and I'm just going to say it, they are going to get to the 1 seed before it's all said and done on the year because they have played the most consistent, they have the best rookie QB, and they have the Patriot way, the New England Patriots. I'm going to be honest. I was off the Patriots at the start of the season. When they started off slow, 2-4, I said the Patriot way is done. Tom Brady has won the war. It's over. This is the new era of football. Well, I was mistaken because Bill Belichick had other plans and Mac Jones, he has just been such an amazing quarterback to watch. Not because he necessarily does anything so spectacular or, flicks the ball a certain way, but because he's consistent. And that is the thing that has been lacking in the NFL this season. No team, other than I would say the Patriots over the last 6 weeks, has given us a consistent product of this is who they are, this is their identity, we know what they're going to do. And the Patriot and the Patriot way, it works. There's a reason why they went on to be a dynasty. And is this the dynasty part 2? I don't know, but the way that they're playing, it looks amazing. And on defense, J.C. Jackson, this dude is just sticky fingers. Wherever the ball is, he just seems to come up with it. Kendrick Bourne on offense, he's been balling. I just love the fact that the Patriots, we all have to eat our crow and acknowledge that Bill Belichick is still the GOAT when it comes to coaches. So I will give you your just due, Bill. At number 3, a team that has just fallen and cannot get up is the Tennessee Titans. Now, I know they don't have the run game, but this is always my concern when you have a team that is solely based around the running back being the focal point of the offense. When you don't have that, you see it all looks a mess. The defense was always kind of shaky. The Tennessee Titans have gone all in on their formula. And right now, they're missing a major component to make the cake rise. So they can hope that at some point they might be able to get Derrick Henry back, but this is just going to be the hand that they're dealt at this point in the season. At the 4th seed, the Chiefs. The Chiefs were on a bye this week, so that's probably why they're not super fresh in our mind. I am still not 100% sold that the Chiefs are back to being the quote-unquote Chiefs. But what has been working for them is, number 1, they've cut down the turnovers, so good on that. And then number 2, defensively, they've started to find their identity again. Frank Clark, he's balling out. So they're starting to kind of get their way again. And with the AFC West, it was looking really strong at the beginning of the season. Now it's kind of tapered off a little bit. We'll know next week when they have to play Denver. Is Denver for real? Are the Chiefs for real? Are they both a little imposters? We'll find out more about both teams next week. Currently at the 5th wildcard spot, the Cincy Cincinnati Bengals. I really like Cincinnati. Who dey? I really, really like Cincinnati, and they remind me kind of Baltimore in ways because they're not the cleanest football team, but they have a little spark, a little swag going on in Cincinnati. But what I love about Cincinnati is, unlike the Rams, they did not mortgage their future for the now. They made strategic moves in the offseason by bringing guys in like Trey Hendrickson. I think he's been phenomenal for them. Larry Ogunjobi. They have brought guys in to bolster what they were already doing well on defense. And offensively, Jamar Chase, he's been a little quiet since the 200-yard game, but Higgins is stepping up, and Joe Mixon, this is who we expected Joe Mixon to be when he was drafted. And Joe Burrow is a baller, shot caller in the Impala. No, I'm just kidding. But I'm telling you, Cincinnati, they've got something cooking in there. The issue is, again, consistency. They were really hot to start off, and then they kind of slowed down a little bit, and now they seem to be picking it back up. But they need to get Jamar Chase more involved. I understand that there might be a little bit more tape on him now, but they got to get him back involved in that offense because he is a playmaker. At the 6th seed, the Buffalo Bills. You beat a banged-up Saints team on Thanksgiving. This is my issue with the Bills. You have waited for 2 decades for Tom Brady to finally be out the way, for you to finally take stake and take hold of the AFC East. This was your time to shine. And now the Patriots are nipping at your heels. They are probably going to take the division. And for what? Like, you guys just should have been more consistent. So this is why I get frustrated with the Bills. And I already know the Bills Mafia is probably going to come for me. But they need to be more consistent because I don't think that they thought that the Patriots would be this big of a factor this season. But they are. So the Bills, you got to just step it up. And I need down the stretch for the remaining games you have out to give me a good, consistent product. I need Josh Allen to make good throws. I need the defense to continue to step up. And come on, Bills, I need y'all to break some tables. Rounding out the 7th seed of the AFC is the Los Angeles Superchargers. Los Angeles Superchargers. As you guys can tell, I am frustrated with some of these teams because I'm like a good coach. I see the potential in you. I see what your level and your potential could be, but you're just not meeting it. And that is the Los Angeles Chargers right now. Other than the Sunday night game against the Raiders, where to me at home, with it pretty much being the Black Hole Part 2, that was the last really convincing win that sticks out in my mind. And it is so frustrating because they have the quarterback, they have the run game, they have the defense, they have the receiving weapons, but why is it all not clicking? I don't know. But what I will say is, Brandon Staley, I love you, and I love a coach with some moxie, but we need to get some of this play calling together. It's cute to go for it on 4th down when you're up and you're winning, and oh, this is great. But when you start to lose and some of your play calling just seems very, very suspect and questionable, you got to look at yourself in the mirror. So the Chargers, they should be a lot further than they are right here, right now, especially with Kansas City showing such vulnerability this season. So I hope for the Chargers, they get it together. Before we hop into the NFC playoff picture, let's talk about a couple teams on the bubble. So let's start with the Broncos. The Broncos, I want to sincerely apologize to Bronco Nation because I dogged y'all very early on when you had won 3 in a row and then you dropped some games. I was like, the Broncos, they're fraudulent. The Broncos, I don't know what it is, but when you guys show up, you show out. And that's the thing that's interesting to me about Denver because they have some really good, convincing wins out here that you're like, maybe Denver is for real. So Denver, I'm keeping an eye on you. I'm going to be honest, and I love Teddy B. I just don't believe too deeply in the QB play, so therefore I cannot really go there with you. But Broncos, keep doing what you're doing. Raiders, another team in the hunt. Y'all know I love the Raiders. You know that I have refused to hop off the bandwagon, and I'm still not hopping off. The Raiders just have to be more consistent in everything. The Cowboys, that was a good team, but the Cowboys are also reeling a lot. So it was great that they came out with the win. They desperately needed that. But overall, I would like to see them get back to moving the ball down the field more effectively. And defensively, they're playing good defensively, but more so, there's just something in the offense that they just need to really get gelling again. For honorable mention, the Browns and the Steelers. The Browns, we know the only reason, and I do mean the only reason, that Baker Mayfield is out there, as banged up as he is because he's trying to get paid. He knows if I'm off this field and Case Keenum comes out here and plays just formidable enough, I'm out of here. So you know what? I don't blame Baker because look, I would take a couple licks to get a $50+ million payday. I just would. The Browns, I think that you really are disheartened if you come away from that game last night where they created 4 turnovers and you couldn't move the ball at all in the run game. You had no passing game really. So I think the Browns, they've got a lot more questions than answers up in Cleveland. The Steelers, it just all looks a mess. It's all falling apart. Big Ben, he probably should have retired last season. The Steelers, they want to owe him a solid because he won 2 Super Bowls. Go right ahead, but they are going to nobody's playoff. Now moving to the NFC Playoff Picture, the Arizona Cardinals. Now y'all know, I'm just not super sold on Arizona. I know that they have the best record in the NFC, and I know that they have the coach and the quarterback and the receivers and the defense, but for some reason, it just doesn't all click to me. They were on the bye, so they're not super fresh in my mind, but the team that I do think will eclipse them for the #1 seed is the Green Bay Packers. Go Pack, go. The Packers, whether you like Aaron Rodgers or not, that's a bad man, and this is a strong team, and the reason why the Packers are so strong, let's run down the list. #1, they don't have 1 but 2 solid, formidable running backs. So even if Aaron Jones is a little banged up from time to time, A.J. Dillon, and I would know because he's on my fantasy team, so thank you, A.J. Dillon, he is a formidable backup. I mean, to be honest, he could probably be a #1 in a different situation. Then you go to the receiving core. We know Devontae Adams is the best receiver in all of football. Then the other guys complement. And then defensively, they're playing strong on defense. Packers have the formula. They know what they're doing. Yeah, they've had some woes here and there, but overall, this is a 13-3 team. The last couple years, they'll probably finish somewhere around that this season. The question is, what are they going to do come postseason? I'm not too worried about the regular season right now. I want to know when the money is on the line, can the Packers really get it done? At the #3 seed, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. The Buccaneers, what makes them so special to me is, yes, we know that they have Tom Brady, GOAT. We know all this, but they are finding different ways to win. And it just goes to show you that this team would not be where it's at this season if #1, they didn't win last year. And #2, guys would have come back from that team that could have went off and said, hey, I'm a Super Bowl winner. I'm going to get a better contract somewhere else. They have bought into the Buccaneer way. And Leonard Fournette is a great running back. People just tend to disrespect him because the breakup with Jacksonville didn't go all that well and no one picked him up right away. But I bet you there's a lot of teams that wished he was on their squad right about now. And the thing that makes Tampa so dangerous is you have to win different ways. Yes, you have the GOAT, but we've seen Tom Brady throw a couple picks and a little shakiness. He's not above those type of days. And when that happens, you have to have an offense that can get it done other ways. We know defensively, Shaq Barrett and that whole crew, what they're able to do. The Buccaneers are in the perfect spot right now and right on track for their back-to-back Super Bowl pursuit. Barely hanging on at #4, the Dallas Cowboys. It was embarrassing to lose at home at Dallas on Thanksgiving. This is your football national holiday. To lose to the Raiders, who have been struggling, to give up the yards. I think they gave up over 500 yards to the Raiders. Dallas, I don't want to say that they've fallen and can't get up. Having your top receivers out is going to affect any team. But defensively, remember when their defense was so atrocious that they said, take the D off of Dallas and make it Alice? That was an Alice performance. Anthony Brown. I'm really not trying to roast right now, Anthony Brown. Like, we got to look at some tape because some of this stuff is fundamental. I mean, when it's overtime and the game is on the line and you need a stop, you have to turn your head around. Like, that is just fundamental football. And, you know, who I really like, I love me some Trayvon Diggs. Trayvon Diggs, I was thinking about this. He really reminds me a lot of Marcus Peters. Very high risk, very high reward. Like, he will get some picks and he will get some pick sixes. But when he misses, sometimes it's so bad. So Dallas, they got to look at themselves in the mirror. I've always kind of been a little shaky on Dallas, but the way that they have played, getting blown out by Denver, losing to the Raiders who were struggling at home, Dallas, they really got to look at themselves. The bright spot is that the Eagles did not do themselves any favor by losing a very winnable game against the Giants. At the 5th wildcard spot, the Rams. The Rams, yes, they've dropped some games recently, but I think the biggest issue the Rams are facing right now, #1, I've seen it in person, and Matthew Stafford has been seeing ghosts. When I was at the 49er game, I don't know who or what he was throwing to, but I think the root of the issue is no Robert Woods. And yes, Robert Woods on paper receiver is a receiver for them, but they ran so many offensive plays with him, and they're trying to get Odell integrated into Sean McVay's complex offense. Complex not being bad, but just complex. So I do believe come playoff time, Odell, he'll be integrated more. This will be clicking a lot better, but right here, we're seeing some of the kinks trying to be worked out in real time. Defensively, let's all be honest, this is not the Rams defense of last year, and that defense was stout. So when you have a little bit of a drop off on defense and offensively you're kind of having to shift gears a little bit, it's going to cause some confusion and some losses, and that's what the Rams are dealing with. So I'm not too worried about you, Rams. I know you need a win out here bad, but don't worry, you get to face the Jacksonville Jaguars at home, so you should be fine. If they lose to the Jaguars, then it's time to hit the panic button. At the 6th seed in the NFC, the 49ers. Now, this is a team that we probably would not have even put in the playoff picture a couple weeks ago, but they've rattled off consecutive wins. I'd like to think I had something to do with it because they started the streak against the Rams when I was there. But the 49ers, what's really working for them right now is, number one, Deebo Samuel. Deebo Samuel is just really emerging, not only to be one of the best wide receivers in the NFL, but his unique skill set, because they use him as a running back. They use him as a wide receiver. I'm probably sure they're going to start running Wildcat for him. He is so dynamic. And this was the 49ers formula. When you don't put the entire game on Jimmy G and the pressure for him to go out and have 25, 30 attempts, get the run game established, get the defense established. And Deebo is such a good receiver that you just kind of put in his vicinity and he's going to come down with it. This is the formula for success. Bang, bang, Niner gang. I am excited to see what the Niners can be. Do I take them super, super seriously in the playoff run? No, but right here, right now, I like what the 49ers are cooking in the yay area. And rounding out the NFC playoff picture, the Minnesota Vikings. The Vikings, they drop one against the Niners. The Vikings don't feel like they're 5-6. They feel like a 7-5. They feel like better than their record actually indicates because they have the personnel. Now, big question mark, what is the health of Dalvin Cook going to look like? That's definitely going to affect them. But Kirk Cousins has been formidable throughout the season. Eric Kendricks is having an all-pro type season. The Vikings, they just don't have it. You know, everybody says, what is the it factor, that je ne sais quoi? Whatever it is, unfortunately, I just don't feel that the Vikings possess it. And that's why they're probably not going to go that far. And for the honorable mention teams in the NFC, we've got the Falcons, Saints, Eagles, and Panthers. The only team that I could see possibly getting into a playoff spot is the Eagles, and that is a slim, slim possibility. I love the Eagles. I love their run game, but that's really if Dallas truly, truly fumbles the bag. But it is Dallas, so I'm not putting anything past them. The Panthers, their season is shut down. The Saints, they said Taysom's going to start. That's not really going to make that huge of a difference to me at this point. They're done. Atlanta, they're still Atlanta. My dark horse team in the entire playoff picture is the Indianapolis Colts. I love me some Colts. And maybe because I'm watching Hard Knocks and I'm getting emotionally invested, but the Colts, and I said this very early on, I knew that if they could get Jonathan Taylor established, this would help balance out the offense. Did I know that Jonathan Taylor would become Jonathan Taylor and be a possible MVP candidate? I didn't know that deeply, but I knew good football science, you got to have a balanced run game. So what he has been able to do in the run game, and I think the biggest issue that they had going against the Buccaneers was they went against what they do well. They played not to lose instead of to win. And so they thought, oh, Tampa's going to take away our run game. Let's take it away from ourselves. And you saw that as the game went on, when they went more so back to the run, that's your strength. Like live by the run, die by the run. So the Colts, their defense, Carson Wentz. I love Indianapolis Carson Wentz. The Colts are a very strong dark horse team, especially with the Titans looking like they don't have a stronghold in that division anymore. And that wraps up this week of the Ashley Ross Show. I'm just going to graze past my picks for the year because at this point, my picks are like everybody else picking games all over the place. We don't know who's going to win week to week, but what I do know is that I am back and I have some really exciting things coming up. So make sure you follow me on Instagram at AshleyRoss3 and make sure you download the Peacock TV app where you download apps at. So a lot in store. Thank you so much for riding with me through our hiatus. We're back, baby, in the words of Jordan. I hope everybody had a great Thanksgiving. We're into December, Christmas time. I will see you all very soon. Bye.